Matthias, aka Mr. 16 Bars, that's real hip hop.
Try to tell people that Philly is a special breed. They hate to see us on top, they hate to see us on, they hate to see us come up, they hate we on, they hate the moves that we make because it's made to break them. We give them knowledge on tracks and hope our words can save them. I guess it's hard to give props when you know you lesser, so we right on your heels. I hope you feel the pressure. Rappers taking a roll, my shoes that never fit them. Before you come at a king, I let my soldiers get.
Have you met Miss Jones? Someone said as we shook hands, she was just Miss Jones to me. Then I said, Miss Cran, and all the dreams I've dreamed, begged or borrowed on song.
We're now joined by Erich Cawalla, who's doing some amazing things with his voice and his saxophone. Erich, welcome to Philly on the Rise. How are you?
Well, thank you very much, Michael. You're too kind. Amazing. I love that word.
You're doing some good stuff, some good stuff. So you are originally from the small town of Reading,
Yeah.
but you're now national, international, even though you're from the small city of Reading. How did your fascination with music begin?
Well, actually, my mom always sang around the house, and my dad, back in the day, was a guitar player. But growing up, I was always I was always performing in choir and chorus when I was a real young child, I guess we should say. And my sister was in the marching band at Governor Mifflin High School up here, doing flags and all that good stuff. And I thought, maybe I want to try that. So between 8th and 9th grade, I picked up a saxophone, and that's where my musical journey began. And it sort of came easy to me, and made a lot of the organizations like the county band, district band, all that good stuff. And then it just kept doing it. 1 leads to 2, leads to 4, leads to 8. And here we are today.
You picked up the saxophone. Did you happen to stay with the saxophone only, or did you try some other instruments along the way?
Yeah, well, saxophone is my primary instrument, but I'm also a flautist, and I also play clarinet. And those are tough instruments, I have to be honest. The saxophone, out of the 3 of them, I think is probably the easiest to play. Clarinet just boggles my mind on stuff. But I always have sang, and then I also play some piano. I'm not a piano player, but if you give me any chord, I can figure it out, and that's how it makes me a better saxophone player, by being able to see it on the piano,
Yeah, understood. Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, Chet Baker,
Yeah.
some of your idols.
Mel Torme and
Yeah.
Michael Pleasant, he's one of my
I don't know
idols.
about Michael Pleasant.
Just that name. But yeah, I'd said just that name, though. My last name's pronounced Cawalla, and I'm a marsupial, and you're Pleasant. So
Yes.
together we were Pleasant Marsupial.
Very good. Tell us, though, how did you develop your own personal sound?
Well, I've always had an old soul. I respect all types of music. My grandmother loved Frank Sinatra, and that's how I first heard of Frank Sinatra. She loved Frank. When I tell you she loved Frank Sinatra, she loved Frank Sinatra. And as he kept, I kept listening more, started to get into more of the R&B sound of it too, like guys like Bobby Caldwell, who we just lost this year. And I really respect guys like that can, do well-rounded types of music, because he can sing Sinatra as good as he could sing his R&B songs. So that's how I really developed my flavor. And everything that I sing, I try and put to my sax, and everything that I do with my sax, I try and put in my singing. And it seems to just have, over time, developed an R&B soulful type of playing with standards, if that makes sense. That's what I really love doing. I do some originals too, and I write them in the standard type of sense, traditional big band or horns, like think Michael Bublé, think guys like that. And that's really what I love to do.
You talk about the standards. Tell us about your Great American Songbook.
Oh, well, my Great American Songbook album, that was an album, took about 6 years to produce and put together. We were gonna release it on, March 2020. And obviously, that's when COVID hit about 2 weeks before my release. So we put it on hold for another 2 years, but it allowed us to solidify even more on the album. But on the album, songs that are on there, like Almost Like Being in Love, Have You Met Miss Jones, Smokey Robinson's Ooh Baby Baby, which shows you some more like the soulful stuff that I like to do. But we have Randy Brecker on there as a special guest, Grammy winning trumpet player. Karen Briggs, who used to perform with Yanni, they call her the Lady in Red, and she put some really nice virtuoso violin on one of the Frank Sinatra songs called "On My Tomorrows." And Doc Gibbs is on that too, Philadelphia legend that we lost a couple years ago as well. So it's an all-star band, mostly Pennsylvania guys. Marco Marcinko was with Maynard Ferguson's band. He's the drummer. Then I also have Benny Sims, my producer on it, Cliff Starkey, who's with me on most of my stuff, and a string section too. It was quite a 17-piece band plus a string orchestra. It was quite a production. Next time around, I think I'm going to go a little bit cheaper and just do piano, bass, drums.
I guess that's the same when you budget tremendously.
Well, yeah, you have to budget everything. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's all about budget because you have to be able to put it out. I'm not a GoFundMe type of guy. I don't want to go out and ask people, I just want to do it this way. Then I have full control and all that stuff. But yeah, it can get expensive, no doubt.
So in the midst of singing and songwriting and touring, you also find time to teach.
I do. Yep, right here, as you can see, my studio here, and notice the colors of my wall or the color of my wall is like a really bright green, and that's so that even people during interviews can stay and pay attention, like you're paying attention right now, right?
Of
But no,
course.
I made sure I didn't want to put like deep brown walls in here or something, or purple, like real dark or whatever, because I want the kids to be able to pay attention. How's that? That's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, I've been teaching for about 22 years. I started teaching a lot of kids over the years that I've had that have gone national band, that are in military bands now. My one prize student from last year, Ben, is up at he's at Eastman Conservatory. So yeah, I don't have, believe it or not, I have an accounting degree, but I always took a lot of lessons. I took lessons off of Tom Stroman, Larry McKenna, legendary Philly saxophonist that we just lost. So I've always loved to teach and try and give this back to the kids. I even have kids that are in their 80s or 70s now. One of my friends, Larry, who I got to talk to him and become really great friends. He's like a second father. He started playing sax when he was 64 and now he's 78. So music is lifelong, and that's what I try and instill in all the kids that I have, whether they're one from 92.
Yeah, you're having an amazing impact on tons and tons of folks. One of
Thank
your
you.
lifelong dreams to perform in front of the Phillies came true. How did that feel?
Oh, that was cool. Well, I have a publicist that she reaches out to a lot of organizations, and I love getting in front of people to play the national anthem as much as I can. But of all the ones that I've played so far, the Philadelphia Phillies meant the most to me because I'm a huge Philadelphia sports fan. Go Eagles, go Phillies, go Sixers, go Flyers. And my grandfather John got me into the Phillies and all the sports years ago. And he used to play baseball and softball when he was younger, and that's how I went to my first Phillies game with him when I was about 10 years old, and it's just a dream for me. So it really felt like he was with me that day when I got to perform that for the Braves and the Phillies last year. It was really cool.
And right after you performed, they went on this long winning streak, and I think you're kind of crediting
They
yourself for
they
that.
did. It's funny that you say that because I said when I played that national anthem, they won that game 1-0, and then they won like 6 in a row after that. So, and they went to the World Series last year. This year I didn't perform it, and they didn't go to the World Series this year.
Wow. So, Eric, next year, somehow or another, you have to get in there and perform that so we can get
Yes,
to the World
if
Series.
John Middleton is listening, make sure, and if Bryce Harper's listening, make sure.
Tell us about your tour. You're presently in the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean, with touring, what I like to do, I also have a cover band called the Uptown Band, and we perform at all types of different locations. But what I do with the original thing is I perform like clubs like South, where I'm going to be performing here, the Kennett Flash we were just at. I like to perform theater shows So we do that in some of the theaters around the area. The Berks Jazz Fest is coming up, and it hasn't been officially announced, but where I released my CD 2 years ago, I'm going to be doing a Berks Jazz Fest show at my high school, and it's going to be a fundraiser for the Governor Mifflin Music Association. And I'm putting the all-star big band back together, 17 pieces, which is your traditional 5 saxes, 4 trumpets, 4 trombones, and a 4-piece rhythm section, piano, bass, drums, and guitar. And the great thing is all I have to do is pay them with food. I don't even have to pay them any money because they just want to play in a big band so bad.
Yeah. That's good
No,
to
but
hear.
that's gonna feature a special guest friend of mine too, Amy Banks, who's a wonderful singer that has performed with Tim Moorfield and Steve Rudolph and a lot of people in the area, originally from Minnesota. So it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. We have about 4 months before that concert, and we're going to announce that in the next week.
Yeah, tons of time to prepare and promote.
Yep, and you need it with these concerts because I'll tell you, it's not like you're just going on stage to play Brick House and old time rock and roll. You actually have to prepare, uh, charts and all these things. Just being a librarian for a big band, which I do that too, is a lot of work. Just getting all the charts ready, and that's where my business and accounting experience comes in handy. Trust me, Michael.
Yeah, you've got a lot going on. You also do booking as
I
well.
do. Yeah, I like to say that I'm an entrepreneur, and I think musicians, so many times a lot of musicians get a bad rap because they say, oh, they're not good at business and they're playing, they can't get shows. And I think it's important that I try and get as many other artists that I know shows as well. I book with my booking agency about 200 shows a year, all types of different stuff, fairs, festivals, private parties, clubs, you name it, and comedians, magicians, singers, vocalists, piano players, bands. And it's called Angeli Productions, and it was started in 1983. And Terry Gaiman, one of my mentors, came to me about 15 years ago. He's like, I'm going to sell you my agency someday. I'm like, I didn't want to be a booking agent because booking agents get that bad rap, right?
Yeah.
But then as he came back to me and I started thinking about it, I thought, you know what? Everything does sort of make sense. I know the booking side of it with my own groups. Why would it be any different than if I was booking for somebody else? So in that time, in 10 years, it's taken it from where it was at, and it's grown pretty exponentially to about 10 times to where it was when I bought it about 10 years ago.
Wow.
And yeah, it's really cool.
So tell us, when you are not booking folks, when you're not singing, songwriting, performing, touring, teaching, how do you relax? What do you do?
Oh, watch those Eagles, baby.
Oh, well, there you
Watch
go.
those Phillies. One thing I think is very important when you're as involved, and I'm sure you're very involved too, is make sure you go to the gym 3 to 4 days a week. Every other day I go to the gym because in 25 years I have almost 4,000 shows under my belt, and it's not just getting there, singing, playing my sax, and going home. There's a lot that goes into it. There's driving to the show, whether it's south like the show that we're doing here in Philly, driving to the show, getting the equipment out, setting everything up that you have to set up, doing a sound check, talking to the client, all that stuff, waiting for an hour, then doing the shows, then you got to tear it down, then you got to drive home. Doing that over a long period of time, 25 years, this is my 25-year anniversary this year performing, it has an impact on your body. I have back issues, I have shoulder issues, ankle issues. But I hired a trainer a couple years ago, and that has made a huge difference in how my back feels. So I think being active as much as you can. So in my spare time, I try and work out as much as I can. And I try and always get every interview I do, I say, you have to get 8 hours of sleep every night. Not only for your feeling of your body, but your voice needs it. You need that sleep so that your body can refresh for every day. Because the music business is it's a very active living. And you have to make sure to stay active just like any sports player would.
Well, Eric, congratulations on all of your success, all of your accomplishments. You have done
Oh,
so much
thank you,
in
Mike.
the past 25 years, and we're quite sure there's so much more to come in the next 25 years.
Well, I'm hoping to get some of my hair back, but if it doesn't happen, I've embraced the bald.
Embrace the bald. I think I'll actually turn gray before I turn
Yeah,
bald.
you look good, man. Look at all that hair you have up there.
But some of it is gray. You just may not be able to see it, but there's some grayness there.
Oh, trust me, I have a lot of gray too. That's why it's all shaven off. The music business, baby, the music business.
Well, Eric, once again, congratulations for everything, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds great. Thank you, Michael. You take care of yourself and keep being pleasant.
Appreciate that.